I'm Brandon Jacoby from Jacoby Custom Cues, and in this video we're going to discuss the ultra shaft, how it's constructed, and the advantages of the ultra shaft. So the ultra shaft is available in two standard sizes. One, our Pro shaft, which is a 12.75 millimeter. And the 12.75 millimeter has a 19-inch Pro taper. A Pro taper is where the shaft gradually tapers, and its next drastic taper change is at the 19-inch point. So it's a very long taper. And also the Super Pro. The Super Pro is an 11.75 millimeter. And this is what's described more as a modified European taper, where it has the same taper through this area as what our Pro shaft does, but at about the 6-inch point, it actually cones into the ferrule size, creating a conical taper in this front portion of the shaft. The shafts are available in different sizes, so you can custom order the shafts anywhere from a 10 millimeter to as much as a 14 millimeter. All the shafts under a 12.5 millimeter start to have this modified European taper. You can also get the tip of your choice. Standard is a Tiger Everest, which is a very good medium to a medium soft tip. The joint area can also be customized. We can do a variety of ring patterns on the back end of the shaft and different connection threads to fit to the cue that you own. You can also order the shaft in a variety of lengths, up to as long as 32 inches. And the taper or the profile of the shaft can also be changed. So if you have a preference for a much shorter taper, you can have a 10-inch taper or a 16-inch taper. This length of this profile can be altered. The shafts are very easy to service. It's easy to have tips replaced. You can re-taper the shaft, so if you decide after owning the shaft you would like to reduce it from a 12.75 to a 12.5 millimeter, you can have the shaft tapered or reduced in size. We don't advise that you would reduce the shaft any greater than 1/2 millimeter from its original size. The ultra shaft is constructed from approximately 140 pieces of thin maple veneer. And the reason why we use so many pieces of veneer is because it builds a much more consistent shaft. When we talk about shaft consistency, it's how consistent it reacts to how it's positioned as you strike the cue ball. Veneer is a very thin piece of wood. This is hard maple veneer. It's all been rotary cut. Rotary cutting is where they take the log on its side and they basically peel it. So it's like peeling a piece of paper off of the log. This veneer is about 26/1000ths of an inch thick, so it's very thin. And the advantage of using rotary cut veneer is in that peeling process, it's very stress relieving. So one of the causes of movement in a wood shaft is stress in the piece of maple. The veneering process eliminates a lot of that. This is the first stage where it's pressed together. We use a special adhesive and we take a series of veneer that's been all color matched and sorted to create a more consistent colored shaft. And it's put under high pressure. So this billet was put under approximately 250 pounds per square inch. And that high pressure makes for a very strong bond on the veneer. This billet then is cut into these slabs where the veneer is all positioned on its side throughout this billet. This is then cut into a series of wedges. It's made of 8 wedges. They get glued together and rolled and wrapped. And this creates the raw blank. From this point, we then start a seasoning process. The seasoning process is where we take this raw blank and we start giving it small cuts where we start putting the taper of the final shaft. And it gets a series of small cuts over a long period of time to help reduce any additional stress that may be in the material. Also, it helps it get to a certain moisture content based on our shop conditions. Once it's turned near final size, then we start performing all the machining operations to add the joint collars on the back end. We use a special gun drilling process on this front end where we core the front end of the shaft to reduce its front end weight. That also helps reduce the cue ball squirt when you apply left and right English. After this front end has been cored, then we install the ferrule in the tip. This is a High-Dex ferrule material and a Tiger Everest tip. This is a very good medium to a medium soft tip. It's probably one of the most consistent tips that we use. The shaft is then clear coated on the end and the logo is put on. And the shaft's final step is each shaft is hand polished where we use a special polyurethane finish and a carnauba wax, so it creates a very smooth final finish. If you need help deciding what the best shaft is for your game, contact us at Jacoby Custom Cues and we'd be more than happy to help.